Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show, training our horses and miniature cows in ranch versatility. Penning Rusty and Suzie, our bull and heifer. Roping Rusty with Morgan horse Semi. Training Eve to drive cart. Training Eve to work over her haunches with a motor cow simulator. Training Eve to lay down. Training Eve to harness, pull a log. Training Semi to harness, pull a log on turf. Liberty jumping to music with our horses who are our partners. Training Eve on a cow roping simulator. Training on our driveway, which is covered by sand, so we have a straight track. Stepping over poles, jumping over crossbar jumps. Training in our trail obstacles course. Sadie doing obstacles without rein control. Training miniature zebu bull Rusty to pull and implement.
Bareback on Firecrest Easter Eve. We have the Pirelli Hackamore rope halter on, which we're using for the time being in our process of training our Minmore Farm mares to ride bitless, reinless, saddleless. We're using a new tool today that Jill Picone, Double Track Demi Moore's owner, told us about and let us borrow, and that is the neck ring. We're going to see if we can get our horses accustomed to responding to our cues using the neck ring. It is a lariat rope type of ring that is adjustable, and Jill got it from Linda Tellington Jones, who had a clinic locally here on, among other things, how to use the neck ring. So Jill gave us a little bit of instruction yesterday. We're going to have to get more instruction, we're pretty sure, but we're trying it today on Firecrest Easter Eve. Now, yes, whoa and back. Whoa and back is a very important maneuver, and we want energetic backs. Now, can we do it? We just did it with the Pirelli halter, as you saw, the Pirelli Hackamore halter. Can we do it with the neck ring? Now, the neck ring is really just a tool for neck reining. You can see that Eve is responding quite well to Alexa's request for lateral direction. Now, of course, Alexis is also using body language and focus. And we learned from Jill that to get a whoa, yes, it seemed to work, didn't it? Mm-hmm. If we pull the neck rein farther up the neck, closer to the throat latch, it helps to give the whoa cue.
Good. I wasn't even using it for the back.
Okay.
That was all leg. Yeah.
That was all leg. Good. That means we're making progress. We do work off camera on all of these athletic and training accomplishments. And then we try to show you progress. So you can see that we've made some progress with Eve. So let's try our 3 exercises that we worked on with our last show. And that is, well, we just showed the forward, row, and back. Let's try the side pass, because the side pass clearly could benefit from some more obvious neck reining. We're not going to be using, we hope, the reins at all that are connected to the Pirelli halter, and if necessary, I will go in with my visual blocks. Let's see if we can get Eve. Yes, very nice. Yes, and she gets praise. All right, let's see if we can square her up again in front of the fence. Now, the fence is a training aid at this point. It's helping us to explain to Eve. We don't want her to go forward. We want her to go to the side. Now, we see we have, okay. We had a hip that was not in the correct position, and it looks, Alexis, like you use the neck ring instead of to get her hips straight.
Just now?
Yes.
I wasn't asking for any. I was asking her for her to stand.
Oh, okay. Well, her hips were. You probably weren't even aware of it. Her hips were off the straight angle, off the 90 degrees. And when you neck reined, she seemed to straighten up. Remember, just for a review, this is a new show, so whoever's viewing now may not have seen the past show. If you want to move those hips, you look at them. That's beautiful. Beautiful side pass. Yes. Wouldn't it be neato not to have any halter on her, to have the confidence that we can communicate with her with the neck ring alone? That's great. Now go out into the middle of the arena. And you remember that our other exercise that we've been working on is disengaging the hind end. A very, very useful movement, especially if you're getting the reactive side of the horse's brain spooking at something. If you can get them push button on hind end disengagement, very likely you'll get left brain attention again, and they won't do some of the dangerous things that they do when they're right brained, because their legs will be crossed over in the back, and they won't be able to rear or buck or bolt. And then if you can straighten them up and keep left brain attention, you're in the clear. Okay, so we're going to do railroad track circles until you've asked, hopefully with the neck ring, for her to stop her front end, then immediately look back at her hip and ask for, yes. Okay, now we need to stop the front end a little better. Yes. Yes, just a couple of step overs with her back legs that disengages her hind end and disengages, we hope, also the reactive side of her brain, the right brain spooky, beautiful, right brain reaction to spooky objects. We get her attention again, her focus. Now let's see if we can get her to, yes, to neck rein again. This is a great neck reining exercise with a very, very inexpensive tool. This tool, when Joe bought it from Linda Tellington Jones's tack supply, it was only $14, and it's a lariat rope material with an adjustable slide so that you can make it a smaller radius or a larger radius as needed for whatever horse you're using it on. And we're going to be using it on all our Minmore Farm mares.
Whoa.
Good, it seems to work. Yes. Very nice. Now, we did a beautiful collected jog with Eve yesterday. Granted, we're using a bridle and reins. Would you feel comfortable trying a collected jog today with either the neck ring or just the Pirelli Hackamore rope halter?
How do you want me to collect her with a neck ring?
Well, a little bit of squeezing. I see what you're saying. Then we don't have the at the same time request with the bit to shorten her stride. So that is really what collection is. It's not just the vertical flexion. It's shortening the stride and getting the hollowness out of her back. Let's just see what she does.
With the neck ring?
Well, let's use the Pirelli Hackamore halter, and let me give some thought to that. Maybe a different position with the neck ring coupled with the eventually the Pirelli halter request will make her realize that if the neck ring is in a certain place, we want that shortening of the stride. And we'll also query Jill, who's had the clinic, on how to use this particular training device.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons we are doing this today with Eve, even though we have little experience with this neck rein is because as we try things, our questions emerge, and we can work on getting their answer. Now, Eve has a very nice shoulder angle, so when you get a collected jog from her, it's a real comfortable jog.
I mean, I think this is a little about, I mean, because we're working on collection with a bridle, you know.
And we're not quite ready for this big step, is your comment. Which I hear you, and sometimes I take big steps just to see how far away we are from getting them. And
I mean, I can get her to hopefully put her head down.
Yes, another thing we're going to work on with Eve, and this will probably be in another show, is seeing what a German martingale does for us as far as getting the proper headset.
What I'm doing right now is I'm using my, there you go.
Yes.
Using my inside leg to get her to put her head down.
Yes.
And what I do is, you know, even if she immediately puts it back up, good girl.
Yeah.
She's got I mean, it'll become more and more frequent.
Yes.
You know, look at that. She's doing good.
Yes.
Good girl.
Eve doesn't like contact with a bit. She just doesn't like it. We've been trying to train her to give us collection and vertical flexion with a bit. We've used Alraguzine's double reins. They've been very helpful. We, as I said, we will probably try it with a martingale, but you know, we'd rather get it.
I think we can get it without, though. Maybe.
Yes.
I'm still convinced.
Yes, without the bit.
I mean, no, without the martingale.
And without maybe even the martingale, but I'd like to just see how useful that martingale is, because it seems to be designed to work like the Alraguzine double reins, and yet it's only one rein, so it's a little bit easier to use when you're out on the trail, for example, if you're worried about high-headedness or head throwing.
Maybe that's a good idea.
And you can use it just as if they were reins without being really any kind of martingale control at all, depending upon which horse you're using it on, I believe. I've seen it be used actually by cow work people as well.
Good.
But only from a distance. I haven't studied its use. I've seen a martingale up close without being on a horse. I've seen it briefly on RFD TV on a horse, but I've not seen any instruction with using the German martingale, and that I'm hoping we're going to get with Jill's help. And actually, with her martingale at first. Beautiful, beautiful. When you're feeling comfortable, let's just quit and keep it a short lesson. Yes, I think Eve is doing great. Beautiful. All right, you've seen our first lesson with Firecrest Easter Eve and the neck Easter Eve. And Alexis is going to tell you a story about a trail ride we had with Eve a day or two ago, and how she handled the problem that occurred, and how we're having this follow-up to see if we can use the same technique here in the arena as well as out on the trail to get Eve left brain collected, calm and stress-free. Okay, Alexis, tell us what happened.
Okay, well, basically she just had a lot of energy coming back to the house. She was kind of wanting to jog, and I decided to try and use, since we'd been wanting to get collection, and I hadn't really asked her much of it yet, so I decided to use that energy and try and get collection out of her, and that's what we did. And I thought that she collected pretty well. I don't know. It was up and down, you know. Her head would come up or down, and then I think that's more a matter of strength, though, of her being unable to carry herself yet. And so, I mean, she was definitely doing what I was asking her.
Okay, and then this observation that you and Jill and I made this morning is that although she flexes really well with her nose to your knee, and we can get hind-end disengagements really well, we feel that her falling in shoulder is a product of the fact that she doesn't quite understand how to flex in her ribs, how to give flexion in her ribs. So let's talk about for a moment how we're going to work on that.
Okay. You want me to just say what I would do?
Yes.
Okay. I would start with kind of what I've been doing, just lots of kind of crazy patterns. Half circles, full circles, what 3/4 circles, just kind of all over the arena, just changing direction a lot. And I would be asking for her ribcage to swing out this way with my inside leg. And then also I might work on like lateral movements. I don't know leg yield if you guys are familiar with that in the Western world, but in dressage it's where you're going forward but also diagonally.
Absolutely. And leg yields are easier with one arc of the neck versus the other arc of the neck. Leg yields, from my experience, are easier if the arc of the neck is on the inside of the yield. But if you're trying to turn the nose away from the leg yield and still go forward.
Like leg yield and half pass?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
okay, yeah.
Let's clarify that, would you?
Okay, so I don't know if you can see my hand. But
I can, yes.
Okay, well, leg yield, they're walking. Maybe I can show you. She probably can't do half pass yet. Or I can't. I don't know how to ask her.
Right, that's the hard one.
Right, but so leg yield, we're going to be going.
Yes, and you see her nose is slightly tipped to your right.
Crucially, she's crossing over in the back.
Yes.
Okay, and she's going to be bent kind of to my leg.
Yes.
Around my leg, whereas in half pass it's the opposite. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be bent in the opposite direction of what you're moving.
Yes.
Right, so if this is leg yield, then this is half pass.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do.
That's more difficult.
I've tried it in the past.
Yeah.
When a horse learns how to do it by cue, it's probably not a difficult athletic event. It's just the understanding on the part of the horse. It's quite amazing what horses will do for people if they just understand what it is they're asking. Okay, so let's show a little bit of collection. That's one of the topics of this show. Let's show what you're doing. Please use your microphone. Tell us at the moment and try to tell us when you're facing the camera what you're doing to try to get that flexible bend in her ribs so that her shoulders don't fall in.
Okay, so first, the first thing that I have started with her is, at first she wouldn't, if you made contact with her mouth, she wouldn't do anything with her head. If anything, she kind of trying to avoid it by going up, throwing her head. But now she's, when you make contact, you can see she's maybe a little overbent, but at least giving to the contact.
And licking her lips. So
right.
She's not at all concerned trying to give you flexion because she always knows that's a good answer.
Yeah, and the way I got that was, if she threw her head, I would start tickling her. Or tapping her with my spur, just one.
You mentioned with your right spur, you mentioned that in our last lesson. Is it any spur, or it depends on what direction you're going?
Let's see. I think I would do it on the inside leg of a circle. So, yeah.
All right, and yesterday when we were working with Eve on another exercise where we had a German martingale on her just to see how it works and how it works with her, we noticed that counterclockwise was a bad direction as far as keeping her shoulders up.
It's more difficult. Yeah.
Yes, okay. We couldn't remember if that was Eve's bad side from tradition.
It's definitely harder to get the collection on that side.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. We're having a couple people now working with Eve, so we're communicating with these videos. They're going onto the internet as soon as possible, usually within 24 hours, so that whoever's going to write her next has the opportunity to skim through the video to see what happened last time. Okay. And then we may not get to it today. We may not even have room for it on the show, but I'm going to go out with you where on that very same trail ride that she jigged home, and you used that jigging energy to get collection, she apparently spooked at maybe a black tub that isn't usually out there.
It was the water bucket.
Just a water bucket.
Yeah.
And
it was big.
Yes, and you had problems getting her to be willing to go by it. You could have forced her by it, but you were trying to be patient. Can you just tell us what happened, and we'll see if that happens again the next time you go out, and if it does, I'm going to follow you with the camera so we can get video of it. Tell me what happened.
It was kind of strange. There was the big bucket, and at first she was just kind of spooked by it like any other thing, and I just had trouble getting her to come up to it, to even smell it. So we were walking around. It was like a magnet. It was like repelling her from it almost. So we just kept doing that. And then finally she'd come up and smell it. But she'd smell it from a distance. Like she'd lean in, but she wouldn't. And even after she realized, or I thought she realized that it was water and a bucket, she wouldn't come any closer this way. So, I mean, I was out there doing that for about a half hour. And then finally she came, it was still a little weird. It's like she thought that I wanted her to go swimming in it or something, and she just wouldn't. Just like, no way.
Okay,
so
my comment about that, although I wasn't there, I can picture what was going on. Eve was investigating with her sense of smell, and maybe she wasn't getting an answer because water doesn't have much of a smell, perhaps.
Maybe.
And the thing is, horses, when they look straight ahead, things aren't in focus. Mm-hmm. They're in focus for the horses. This is my understanding, especially from Pirelli's teachings, that they're in focus real good in peripheral vision. Mm-hmm. But looking straight ahead, they have trouble figuring out what they're seeing. They see objects, mm-hmm. but they can't focus on them. Okay. So can you imagine that maybe that was happening? She was trying to smell it.
I mean, but too, she got her nose in the water, and I splashed her with it. I got off. And I tried to lead her up to it, and we were walking around it, so she definitely saw it out of the side of her eye, but
wasn't convinced it wasn't a predator.
And I finally just quit after she kind of came in and smelled it again, and then I was like, okay, that's fine.
Okay, I'm real curious to see what happens next time. So even if I'm not with you on that particular ride, let me know what happens, and actually I'll try to make an objective of going out with the camera to get some video of this picture that we just painted with words. Okay, let's see what happens with collection today.
And I've just been starting at a walk, because that's a good place to start, I guess. I think it's really important to be especially light in your hands with her when she does start collecting, because it's just important.
To be light in your hands?
Yeah.
To relieve the pressure. That's
I think be what elastic,
you're saying. Yes. Kind of like the elastic reins that we use with Al Raguzin's double reins. You can relieve the pressure in the second. As soon as you get the right answer.
And I don't want her either to be evading the bit by like this, going behind it too far, So I think when she does that, I also put my spur on her a little bit and get her to pop her head back up. Using my inside leg right now. There you go. She was kind of falling into her inside shoulder, and I shifted my weight to the outside stirrup so that kind of threw her balance the other direction. This side's definitely a little more difficult, stiffer or something. And I wondered, I was kind of working on this before too, is giving her long reins and just kind of letting her go. Maybe bring her head all the way down to the ground. But, ow. And she speeds up pretty good.
Okay, and we have a wheelbarrow going by here, so she's hearing it. She's maybe reacting to it, but okay, she's going to be a ranch versatile horse. She has to be able to deal with
good girl
sensory inputs of that sort, unanticipated.
you can see when we start, I ask her to turn, change direction. That's when her head kind of comes up. There's Ed.
There's Ed, and then the rescue dogs are barking at him. These are all distractions that we tolerate and train for.
Hey. Just checking out Jill coming up the driveway. Good girl. Oh.
Let's, could we canter once in each direction just to see where we're at
Sure,
on that
yeah.
goal? We didn't do it yesterday with the German martingale because it was the first time she'd ever had it on, and we didn't want to introduce that transition. Now, can we get her? That's a very fast canter.
Very fast.
Can we get her collected at the canter? Is
No,
the
I'm
question.
not. I don't want to ask her.
Not even.
She's not strong enough, I don't think.
Okay. All
But
right. But she's transitioning at your request.
okay, trot. Good girl.
Good. Just a few strides, a half of an arena. Good enough for today. All right. Well, I kind of feel like we've shown and discussed what we're working on with Firecrest Easter Eve today.
Look at Celestian Pleasure Horse.
We're trying to decide what her specialty will be, and she's not crazy about contact of the mouth or the nose, but once she understands what you're asking from her and gives you collection, she's real comfortable. She's built to be comfortable at the collected gait. We'll keep you up to date on Eve's progress. We're proud to say that she's shown us a lot of improvement, and we're showing you the tools that we're using as best we can each time we use them.
Good.
www.urbancowgirlchannel.com. Click on the Eve tab. Go down to the bottom. Scroll down to the bottom. You'll see how Eve performed a long time ago, and then work your way up, because at the top are the most recent shows. So you'll see her progress. Sonia Sokolow, the Urban Cowgirl. Goodbye for now.
Shadrack Stables at Midmore Farms. Sadie and Eve. Semi. Rusty and Suzie. www.thesokolos.com.